The image of Ariana Grande is one of meticulously crafted perfection, the impossibly high ponytail, the wide-eyed innocence, the effortless pop dominance. She is a cultural commodity, an icon built on both talent and a specific, doll-like aesthetic. But what happens when the very physical vessel that carries this superstar identity undergoes a visible, shocking change? What happens when the world, which demands perfection, suddenly pivots and decides that her new reality is not perfect, but concerning, even unhealthy? For months, the whispers grew into a cacophony. Tabloids and TikTok threads dissected every photograph, every red carpet appearance, focusing not on her music or her highly anticipated role in the film Wicked, but on her visible weight loss. The commentary was relentless, a bizarre mix of feigned concern and outright cruelty. The general public had rendered a verdict: she looked too thin, too frail. She was sick. And then, she did the unexpected. Ariana Grande, usually so guarded about her private life, stepped onto her platform and broke her silence. Her response was not a defensive celebrity clapback, but a quiet, deeply personal, and utterly devastating plea. She revealed a painful, ironic truth. The body the world was currently calling unhealthy was the result of the healthiest changes she had made in her life. And conversely, the body the public had once celebrated as her peak was the body she inhabited during her darkest, most medicated, and most self-destructive period. This is the cruel paradox of modern stardom. The world looks at a physical transformation and immediately assigns a narrative, usually a negative one, without knowing the interior. Agonizing truth. Tonight, we analyze the moment Ariana Grande stripped away the celebrity veneer to challenge the global obsession with female bodies. We will dissect her powerful statement, trace the history of body shaming that led to this moment, and explore the profound lesson she offered about unsolicited comments, mental health, and the toxic burden of being perpetually scrutinized. The truth behind her transformation is not a scandal. It is a story of survival, laid bare for a judgmental world. The initial ripple of concern began not in the polished pages of celebrity gossip magazines, but in the organic, unmoderated sprawl of social media. It was subtle at first, a comment here, a comparison post there, but the sheer velocity of the internet soon turned a trickle into a torrent. A new photo would surface, perhaps of Grande leaving the set of Wicked in London, bundled against the cold, and instantly, the visual narrative shifted from pop star working to pop star in crisis. The mechanism of this criticism is complex and insidious, driven by a perverse cocktail of genuine, though misguided, concern and pure, unadulterated judgment. Many commentators argued they were simply worried about her health. "She looks too skinny," they would type. "Someone needs to check on her." This veneer of care provided a shield against accusations of cruelty. It allowed millions of strangers, who have no medical history or personal relationship with the star, to assume the role of diagnosticians. But let us be clear, commenting on a celebrity's weight loss, no matter how framed, is a form of boundary violation and public shaming. It presupposes that the public has a proprietary right to the star's physical body, viewing it as a public commodity that must adhere to a pleasing, recognizable standard. When Ariana Grande's appearance changed, it destabilized the collective memory of her the bubbly, curvaceous image associated with her "Thank You Next" era. This visual dissonance triggered a primal reaction. Something is wrong, and the public feels entitled to fix or, at least, discuss that perceived flaw. The language used was particularly harsh. Terms like skeletal, gaunt, and anorexic were thrown around casually, transforming her body into clickbait. What distinguishes this wave of criticism is that it came at a time when body positivity and body neutrality movements were supposedly gaining ground. Yet, the instant a celebrity deviates from the narrow, accepted spectrum of what is deemed healthy and happy, the goodwill evaporates. This double standard exposes the shallow nature of much internet concern. It's acceptable for a star to be curvy and celebrated, but the moment they become noticeably thinner, they transition from an icon to an object of pity or, worse, suspicion. This scrutiny extended beyond just her body shape. It targeted her facial structure, her energy levels, and even her style choices, all interpreted through the singular lens of rapid weight loss. This barrage created a hostile digital environment, an echo chamber where every piece of commentary reinforced the idea that Ariana Grande was silently suffering and, by extension, that she had failed to maintain the ideal image that her global audience felt they had purchased the rights to. This incessant digital noise set the stage for her necessary, yet emotionally draining, intervention. She was being publicly diagnosed, judged, and condemned, simply for existing in a changing body. The silence from her team only amplified the speculation, culminating in a pressure cooker environment that only a direct, personal address could possibly deflate. The public had demanded an explanation for her transformation, and the magnitude of the reaction ensured that when she finally spoke, the world would be forced to listen, to understand the intensity of the recent criticism. We must first trace the trajectory of Ariana Grande's visual presence within the unforgiving landscape of pop culture. Grande did not enter the public eye as a fully formed pop siren. She emerged as Cat Valentine on Nickelodeon's Victorious, and Sam and Cat, a vibrant, almost cartoonish figure defined by her bright red hair and a decidedly youthful, slightly more rounded image. This early phase established her as sweet, innocent, and visually accessible. As she transitioned into a global recording artist, the visual expectations of a multi-platinum pop star began to exert their pressure. The pop machine demands a specific kind of body-toned, energetic, and conforming to an idealized, aspirational standard of beauty that often prioritizes thinness but mandates curves in specific, approved locations. Grande, for years, seemed to navigate this impossible tightrope walk with grace, adapting her look through various musical eras. During the height of her commercial success, particularly around the Sweetener and Thank You music eras, her image was widely celebrated, a youthful, powerful woman whose body was scrutinized, yes, but generally found to be within the accepted norms of desirability. The paradox lies in the fact that celebrity, especially female celebrity, involves an unspoken, involuntary contract the public gets to observe and comment on the evolution of your physical self as much as your artistic self. Any deviation from the established successful template is viewed not as personal choice, but as a public disruption. For years, Grande's style-oversized sweatshirts, high boots, a relatively consistent body type provided a sense of comforting familiarity to her enormous fanbase. But the Hollywood ideal is a cruel mistress. It enforces a standard that is often incompatible with genuine health or sustainable living. Stars are routinely applauded for extreme diets and rigorous, often damaging, routines to achieve a stage-ready physique. This constant pressure fosters an environment where the audience is trained to look for extremes. When a celebrity looks perfect, they are lauded for their discipline. When they look different, they are automatically presumed to be failing. either failing to maintain their image or, more ominously, failing in their personal life. The public's immediate assumption that her recent weight loss stemmed from distress or an eating disorder reveals a deep cynicism ingrained in the celebrity ecosystem. We are conditioned to believe that transformation is driven by trauma, not healthy realignment. This narrative is easier to digest than the truth that human bodies change, evolve, and reflect deeply personal, internal decisions that have nothing to do with aesthetic consumption. The pop star paradox ensured that when Ariana Grande's appearance altered, the conversation was immediately hijacked by speculation, projecting external judgment onto an intensely private physical reality. She was entering a phase of life where she was actively prioritizing recovery, sobriety, and stability. Yet the cameras and the commenters saw only the absence of weight, not the presence of peace. This historical context of ceaseless scrutiny is essential to understanding the gravity of her eventual response, a response that sought to reclaim autonomy over the very vessel the public felt they owned. The moment finally arrived when Ariana Grande decided to bypass the traditional PR apparatus and speak directly to her audience. She did not issue a sterile statement through a representative or grant an exclusive interview. She uploaded a raw, unedited video to TikTok, a platform known for its intimate and often brutally honest user-to-user communication. The choice of medium was itself a statement she was meeting the digital noise on its own turf, using sincerity to combat speculation. In the video, Grande appeared soft-spoken, vulnerable, and direct. She started by acknowledging the concern, recognizing that the barrage of comments regarding her body, specifically her weight loss, was inescapable. But she quickly pivoted the conversation from external observation to internal reality, delivering the central, devastating revelation that anchors her entire message and challenges the core assumption of the critics. She looked into the camera and disclosed the painful truth: the body the world was currently celebrating as healthy or criticizing as too skinny was the body she was inhabiting while actively focusing on her recovery, sobriety, and personal well-being. And then came the gut punch. She explained that the body that the public remembered, the one often deemed her peak or healthiest appearance, was the body she possessed during one of the most troubled periods of her life. She stated plainly that she was taking a myriad of antidepressants and drinking heavily during that period, using external crutches to cope with profound internal distress. This specific brave disclosure weaponized her vulnerability. It forced the audience to confront the deeply flawed logic of judging health solely by appearance. She essentially said, "You thought I was thriving when I was actually suffering in silence. And now that I am finding peace and true health, you assume I am sick." This is the cruel paradox she dismantled. By linking her past body shape not to happiness, but to severe mental health struggles, she fundamentally reframed the context of her transformation. Her physical change was not a symptom of illness, but a side effect of recovery. Grande then used her platform not to defend herself, but to offer a broader, essential message of empathy. She implored her viewers to be gentle with one another, particularly when it comes to passing judgment on physical bodies. She stressed the universal truth that you never know what someone is going through. This line transcends her celebrity status. It is a universal call for kindness, recognizing that the body often serves as a map of internal battles that strangers cannot read. Her analysis successfully shifted the scrutiny from her body to the morality of the scrutineer. She used her own suffering not for pity, but as a teaching tool, challenging the audience to withdraw their unsolicited opinions and acknowledge that health is a private, complex journey, not a publicly graded aesthetic achievement. This TikTok response was more than a rebuttal. It was a profound act of self-reclamation in the face of relentless, external commodification. Ariana Grande's decision to link her physical appearance to her mental health history was not merely a defense of her current body. It was a necessary articulation of the immense psychological toll that inescapable fame exacts. Her transformation cannot be divorced from the well-documented traumatic events that have shaped her last decade. The most profound of these was the 2017 Manchester Arena attack, an event that left an indelible mark on her psyche, leading to highly publicized struggles with post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, and periods of deep depression. When a person experiences trauma, their body and mind often enter survival mode, which drastically affects physical processes. Many celebrities, grappling with the compounded stress of trauma and public life, often turn to mechanisms, whether it be emotional eating, severe restriction, self-medication through substances, or excessive work to cope. Grande's admission that her previously celebrated body was maintained while she was heavily medicated and drinking paints a stark picture of internal dissonance. The physical presentation was a mask, hiding a frantic attempt to manage overwhelming psychological pain. This revelation forces us to interrogate the very notion of a celebrity's image. The industry encourages a profound separation between the polished public persona and the suffering private individual. The audience buys into the illusion that success equates to happiness and that the stars they admire possess an enviable, perfect existence. When Grande admitted that her seemingly perfect past self was chemically buffered against reality, she tore that illusion down, revealing the exhausting labor required to maintain a facade of composure under intense global observation. Furthermore, fame intensifies the pressures placed on a body. Unlike private individuals, a celebrity's weight and size are perpetually newsworthy. Every calorie, every workout, every moment of rest or distress is scrutinized and cataloged. This environment can trigger or exacerbate disordered eating patterns and body dysmorphia, even in individuals who start with a healthy self-image. For Grande, whose every personal decision from relationships to housing is front-page news, the external commentary on her body serves as a constant, suffocating reminder that she is never truly off stage. The core question Grande's statement compels us to ask is, does the public truly have a right to comment on a body that is an external manifestation of an internal war? The answer, as she powerfully demonstrated, is unequivocally no. Her current appearance is not a performance for public approval. It is the physical evidence of sobriety, therapy, and a deliberate move toward sustained emotional stability. She is trading aesthetic adherence to Hollywood standards for genuine, internal peace. By sharing this deeper context, Grande has shifted the narrative from a superficial debate about thinness to a vital, necessary discussion about how public judgment jeopardizes the fragile journey toward mental wellness for everyone, famous or not. Ariana Grande's controversy did not exist in a vacuum. It resonated through the entire entertainment industry, highlighting the inherent hypocrisy embedded in Hollywood's embrace of body politics. While major media outlets quickly moved to defend Grande and publish analyses condemning body shaming, this sudden ethical clarity felt hollow. These are the same publications that profit directly from scrutinizing and commenting on celebrity weight fluctuations in the first place, creating the very environment that necessitated Grande's defense. The industry creates an echo chamber where contradictory messages thrive. Be authentic, but only within prescribed limits. Embrace self-love, but adhere to the camera's unforgiving standards, and speak your truth, but understand that your truth will still be endlessly debated and doubted. The response to Grande's statement revealed that even within the supposedly progressive landscape of contemporary Hollywood, the physical ideal still reigns supreme. Adding a critical layer to this public scrutiny is her highly visible role as Glinda in the massive cinematic undertaking. Wicked. Filming such an intensive, physically demanding project requires extreme dedication and often a physical transformation to fit the character's requirements or the grueling schedule. For an actress taking on a role of Glinda's stature, every movement, every costume fitting, and every leaked image becomes fodder for the press. The timing of the body comments, coinciding with this high-stakes production, created an unavoidable link was her weight loss professional dedication or personal crisis. The public defaulted to the latter, demonstrating how quickly professional commitment can be twisted into personal pathology under the microscope of fame. Furthermore, the debate touched on a significant schism within the body positivity movement itself. When thinner celebrities are criticized for weight loss, some argue it is a necessary pushback against thin privilege. However, Grande's situation exposed the darker side of this commentary, where concern becomes a tool of surveillance. If the movement is truly about health and acceptance at any size, then it must include compassion for those who are struggling, regardless of their current appearance. Grande's response was a plea for that universal courtesy. Recognize the humanity behind the image and extend grace, rather than judgment. The overall industry response, a mix of genuine support from fellow artists and performative outrage from media that fuels the fire, underscored the systemic failure to protect stars from this invasive scrutiny. Grande's transformation became a cultural moment because it forced a reflection on who gets to define health and whether public figures are ever truly allowed a private life, especially when the changes they undergo are the result of profound internal healing. Her challenge was not just to the trolls, but to the entire celebrity industrial complex that thrives on the commodification and subsequent critique of the female form. The transformation of Ariana Grande, both physically and emotionally, serves as a powerful, uncomfortable mirror reflecting the toxicity still pervasive in our culture. Her candid public address did more than just silence the critics. It offered a masterclass in reclaiming personal narrative from the hands of the public. She forced millions of people to recognize the staggering irony that they were actively celebrating her suffering while condemning her journey toward genuine health. We have traced the genesis of the criticism, from the initial social media whispers to the full-blown crisis narrative. We have explored the pop star paradox, which demands an impossible standard of perfection while simultaneously punishing any visible change. Most importantly, we have internalized the shocking truth. Grande revealed that the body the world admired was built on antidepressants and alcohol, while the body currently facing scorn is the physical manifestation of sobriety, recovery, and inner peace. This is the enduring takeaway. True health is an internal state, not an external aesthetic. It is a journey marked by vulnerability, therapy, and hard choices, none of which can be accurately assessed through a photograph or a fleeting paparazzi shot. Ariana Grande did not owe the world an explanation for her body, yet she gave one, using her fame as a shield for others who may be facing similar judgments in their private lives. Her final, crucial message was a plea for humanity: be gentler with people. Stop commenting on bodies. This isn't just a rule for famous people. It's a fundamental principle of respecting autonomy and acknowledging the silent battles everyone fights. If the world stops demanding that celebrities present a perfect, immutable image, Perhaps they can start focusing on their art, their mental wellness, and their private lives, without fear of public diagnosis. The story of Ariana Grande's transformation is a call to action for the audience of Starlight Remains. Before you share that comment, before you send that tweet, remember the quiet devastation behind the words. You never know what someone is going through. Let us choose kindness, let us choose empathy, and let us finally stop treating the bodies of women, famous or not, as public property for endless, uninformed debate. The transformation is complete. But the lesson, the necessity of basic human courtesy is only just beginning.